Welcome to Toronto, Canada, where Chris Cornwell's on pole from Christian Bentley and Kimi Nyla. Forsyth Racing getting a top 3 in qualifying at the home race. And it's Perez, Sims, Matthew Hart, points leader, Ica World, Dominic Hudson, Vita Alves getting a very good qualifying in that 12 car, Antonio Ponte and Ahmed Cilia. Zenzo starts 12th, followed by Rai Franca and Davi Circuera. Then it's Daniel Ortega, Brondon Animates, and Akari Lopez in 17th. Then it's the Andretti's, Austin followed by Shen, Lam Vong, and Devin Butler. Then it's back through it's Cloquet, Antonio, and Vansalau. Toronto, Canada, home of Scott Pilgrim, terrible conditions, and round 9 of the ChampCar World Series. All 5 lights go on. And we are underway in the ChampCar Grand Prix of Toronto. Good start off the line there from Christian Bentley, who's going side by side with Chris Cornwell coming through the opening kick as they head down into the opening chicane. Can the number 23 hold on to 32? Sorry, that's hard in the wall for Guillermo Perez, who is out of the race. Oh, Senzo hitting that car, his teammate. It's a pile up down at the opening chicane, and it involves Kimi Nyla from a great qualifying up in 3rd. Dropping down the order, still in this race in 15th. Still a little bit of a pile-up that's formed. Sims has got a time penalty, so we can only imagine he was involved in that crash too. But the full course yellows are out on lap 1 of 17. Cornwell, your leader. It's been a while since we've returned to Canada in any ERL category. Matthew Hart, the championship leader, up to 4th, driving for the home team. Team Forsyth, as we are back under the green flags, but he's got his 2 closest title rivals right in front of him, Bentley and Cornwell. Chris Cornwell, who's only taken 1 podium finish all season long. It was the 2nd place, and that's all he has to his name so far in season 7. For a championship competitor, he surely has gotten to where he is without needing to get into the podium positions. As further back, that's Mario Kloske, who's got front wing damage. That slowed everyone down in the final sector of the track as we go on to lap 2. Cornwell, of course, with the fastest lap. The quest for the Grand Slam continues in the ERL. Don't know if we'll ever see it get achieved in this new era. Christian Bentley with the fastest first sector of anyone at 20.424. No attack mode in these conditions, but you can still use the battery side of these hybrid engines. Devin Butler with the fastest opening sector, the field quite spread apart. As here comes Bentley. Does he want to make the move? He doesn't. Just want to hold on to 2nd place because this is a great opportunity for a pass, and Sims is going to take it side by side with Bentley. Not just that, with Cornwell as Frankie gets a time penalty. Kazuki Sims takes the lead here in Toronto. Christian Bentley looking for the pass on his teammate as well. Makes the lunge through the final chicane, banging wheels. But he's going to have to hold on to 3rd. Sims takes the fastest 3rd sector and the race lead on lap 3 of 17. The field actually quite spread apart in these conditions. I'd advise Matthew Kloske in the 22 car at the very back of the pack to come into the pits, but the Belgian driver probably waiting for the conditions to get a bit better. Try and take the first intermediates, possibly even try compound tyres, as we've got yellows in sector 2. It's for Akari Lopez and Rai Franca. As well as that, Antonio Ponte involved. So those 3 have come to a little bit of a collision. Ponte and Franca both with damage. We go on board with Akari as he moves up into 10th place. He's got a time penalty. Look at Circuera trying to get past as well. Somehow they keep it clean through there. Austin getting now a 10-second time penalty. Ortega looking for where he wants to go as it's contact with Vita Alves in front. The 2 Brazilians collide into the wall for Circuera, who slides back onto the track in that number 19 car. Bentley's dropped down to 4th place, by the way. Matthew Hart has gotten past, and Cornwell doesn't have a lot of pace to show on those blue walls. Wet compound tyres. Lam Fong getting a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. Look at how close everyone is behind Vita. That's just because of all the yellow flags. It's been bringing that part of the field a lot closer together. Rai Franca comes into the pits, first man down in pit lane. Let's see what tyres the Trackhouse Racing man wants to go on to, if he does want to change him. Otherwise, it does seem like it's just going to be a front wing change. Of course, 5-second time penalty being served, so I'm keeping my eyes on that timing tower as Hudson not wanting to make the pass. Frank is back out on another set of wets as Christian Bentley, who's been dropping down the order, now has a 5-second time penalty to his name for causing collisions. Talk about having a scruffy day in the office in these wet conditions. Matthew Hart, the championship leader, pulling to the inside, but opting to stay out of it. Sims still leads with that time penalty, remember. And flying off the road and into the wall there for Davi Circurera. Dominic Vancelau, who's made his way up into 18th, also flew off the road. Kimi Nyla still dropping down the order after his lap 1 collision with Guillermo Perez. Here comes Matheus Antonio. The two Brazilian drivers fighting over 19th, stacking pennies effectively, but he does take the position. Does seem like the rain is calming down a little bit, just taking a look at the advanced graphics that we've got. And it does seem as if most of the track is actually suitable for the inters, but the teams are just opting to stay out there on the wet. It really is just this back stretch that is still full wet weather. Here in Toronto, on board we go with Danny Ortega, staying close with Antonio Ponte, his teammate. The two Team Penske drivers about to go side by side into the hairpin. Side by side they go, locking wheels, forcing each other off the road, but otherwise we've seen a lot worse. Ortega takes 12th. Meanwhile, up front, Cornwell has left the rest of the pack for dust as he now chases after that race lead. Sims does still have the lead, but once he comes into the pits, or even if the race stays wet for the entirety of the duration, he still has that 5-second time penalty to worry about. He's only got 3 seconds to Cornwell. As it would stand, Sims would need a great stop. Hyperdrive would need a terrible stop as Hart moves up into 3rd, but how close to the wall was that for Dominic Hudson? Almost clipping the inside barrier. We've seen that in practice, and it's caused some very hairy incidents. Hart up into 3rd place, as that seemed to be quite wide off the track for Christian Bentley. Look at that behind Devin Butler, they're going too wide. Austin versus Ponte versus Lam Fong coming through the chicane, and it's a full course yellow for Danny Ortega. And that engine within the Team Penske has just evaporated effectively. It's expired on lap 6 of 17 as we go on to lap 7. That's going to help Cornwell. If he can just get a good getaway, and if Sims can't, British drivers on course for something good here. Matthew Hart, however, right behind him as we're about to go green, and we are now green here in Toronto. Not the greatest getaway for Hart. For Cornwell, immediately onto the attack charge, and same for Sims, so the gap staying roughly the same as it was, maybe a little bit, yes, actually quite the increase in the gap, as Sims was already going down this straight. Hudson losing time to the guys in front of him. That's close to the wall for Iker, keeps it out as Bentley getting a brilliant getaway under these new conditions. That's the lunge from the Angolan, forcing both of them off the track. There was contact, but thankfully neither of them into the wall. On board with Dominic Hudson, trying to thread the needle, getting forced quite close to that Hyperdrive advanced car in the 9. That's Iker World, of course, as we go on to lap 8, heading down into that final chicane next to the Wall of Champions. And Iker just holding on to 5th there. Look at Zenzo in the 91, gets past Dominic Hudson. Good stuff from the rookie. Not the best rookie in terms of championship standings, but in terms of racecraft, I'd say that 91 looks quite quick, certainly in comparison to his teammate Davi Circurera. Still at the near the very back of the pack with that wing damage. We've had 2 retirements so far in this Grand Prix. And Sims is trying to get that 2nd win. Hasn't had the worst season as Sims 888 Toyota Gazoo Racing. That 11 car, of course, taking victory in Japan. now leading this race, but still with that time penalty. As it stands, 5.4 seconds is the margin. Cornwell needs to step on it. Coming into the final chicane, you can see the British driver being a lot more conservative as we go on to lap 9 of 17. 8 laps to go from Toronto. A lot of the field actually quite spread apart. Looking back with Ica World, you can see Bentley, Zenzo, and then a little further back, Kimi Nyla. Quite a ways further back, Nyla and Franca both off into the wall. Chloe Kane gets by. The British driver stuck in the middle of the track as the race leader is coming by. Oh, what a dodge there from Kazuki to just avoid that slow Conquest race. Not Conquest, Forsyth racing car, that 77 at the team's home event. Right behind Kimi on track. That is Matthew Hart. He's now a lap down. Is the rookie with wing damage. Seems like it was contact with, I believe, Franca. Mario Kloske coming down to the pits looking to repair that front wing. Cornwell also down into the pits, so that's new tyres for both of them. Also down to pit row. Matthew Hart, softs going on for Chris Cornwell. We've got yellows in the third sector, and it's into the wall for Brondon Animates, giving a track limits warning. Sims has stayed out. The track's certainly drying. None of the teams thinking that the inters are the correct tyres to go on to. Coming out of the pits there is the 96, still maintaining second place, but 20 seconds off the lead. Is it time to go on to the softs? Because it's going to be very hard to get these things up to temperature. There's still quite a lot of standing water. The rain has stopped, which is good news, but if we look back, you can see still quite a bit of spray coming off the back of that car. Dominic Vancelau forcing Zenzo off the road as he's just come out of the pits. That 98 trying to hold on to 6th place there. He's got a time penalty, don't forget. As a look at Brondon Animates all over the back of his teammate. And he's going to try and make the lunge. A lot of contact between the teammates, which is not something that you want to see. We go on to lap 11. Sims still staying out. There's going to be a point where these wet weather tyres are just not going to be that good. And Zenzo really is just holding up that Filipino driver in the number 88 car, the Conquest of Brondon Animates, moving up in 7th. Let's take a look at the gap. Remember, it was 20 seconds at the start of lap 10. On the start of lap 11, still quite the margin between Sims and Cornwell. What's it going to be? Remember, 20 seconds as the track getting a lot drier. There goes Sims. I believe that's past Lam Fong, but now the gap is 33 seconds. Vancelau comes in. Brondon Animates comes in. This is great stuff from Sims Racing. We believe they've got their strategy correct. That time penalty being served, but now this is where the softs, the dry tyres, are beginning to get into their element. Cornwell, however, is going to have to do 2 extra laps compared to Sims. He's going to have an extra stop. If Sims goes on to a set of hards, it's over. It is well and truly over as the race leader has come into the pits and is serving his time penalty. It's softs going on as a caution comes out. It's Vasilia and Zenzo coming on to the scene of the accident. And I think Zenzo could have gone over the barriers, guys. No, never mind. I think if we've got this correct, we're going to have to look over this a little bit more, but we believe the marshals might have just cleared up Zenzo's car a little bit quickly, but the margin out front is now 8 seconds. It's 8 seconds between Sims and Cornwell. Sims 888 making the most of that caution period, and so now they lead this race with their namesake driver, who's going for his 2nd race win on the season. Chris Cornwell, the luck just not with the British driver, the reigning FG Series champion. Antonio with the fastest 3rd sector as here comes Chris to put a lap on one of the Trackhouse racing cars. I believe that's Mario Kloske. It is. Track limits warning for the Brits as Matthew Hart at his team's home race looking to lock down a podium finish in that 21 car while his teammate at the very back of the pack coming into the final chicane then with Kazuki to begin lap 13. I think we could see those who came into the pits at the absolute earliest point in time. I think we could see them come in again. And yes, down into pit lane for Chris Cornwell. It's another set of softs. I don't see the benefit in doing that. Could you do 4 laps on the same set of softs? Potentially. It's gonna cause some issues come that final lap, but I doubt that's what Hyperdrive are worried about. It's softs for Dominic Hudson as well. Akari Lopez, we look back with the 10 car. As you can see, Cornwell's come out of the pits in 5th, hoping to try and make the most of fresher tyres. Vansalau with the fastest lap of this race. Antonio Ponte taking it away, a 101.034. Still quite away from what we saw in the dry qualifying sessions, which is quite the opposite of what we often see in the ERL. It seems, oh, that's close to the wall for Akari. Keeps it out as he's passed by Chris Cornwell. Sims, a 1 minute dead, .075 to begin lap 14. That man is absolutely flying out there. Matthew Hart having a very scruffy final sector there. I think we could see Ica World dive down into the pits. I think the big thing, as we've got yellows in sector 2, off the track there for Antonio Ponte. Lam Fong not involved, thankfully. Looks like the 94 just flew off into the wall by himself. We go green again as into the pits comes Christian Bentley. This is a very interesting show from Matthew Hart and from Ica World. For Hyperdrive Racing, this is good news for their number 96 crew, because it shows that what I personally think of as an out there strategy is actually quite possible. I think we could actually see 5 laps on the same set of softs, but the top 3 still likely have another stop to make. Cornwell closing up to the back of his teammate. Lap 15 of 17 into the pits for Lam Fong and for Antonio Ponte. Coming out on a set of mediums then for the Vietnamese driver. He'll be on his own there. In comes Matthew Hart to relinquish that second place almost certainly. Ica World also dives down into the pits. His teammate will take second. The margin out in front, 23 seconds. That's roughly an entire pit stop separating your race leaders. Kazuki Sims Takahana won his home race at Twin Ring Motegi, but 2 races ago. His Sims Triple 8 TGR team in the title hunt. His teammate quite a ways down the order in 9th. Ray Shen and Vider Arms, by the way, doing 5 laps. This is a great race so far for number 12, by the way. And for Sims, he's looking for his 2nd career win. But he stays out. He will start this penultimate lap at 37%. Cornwell, his tyres, the least of his problems. Franca's coming into the pits for his 3rd stop. And remember, last time we saw the gap, it was 23 seconds. So coming across the line for Chris Cornwell. What's it going to be for the British driver? 20 seconds. So he is closing in on the Japanese driver, but not fast enough. It's going to come down to whether or not those tyres can make it. Sir Carrera with 4-lap old soft compound tyres. If he doesn't come into the pits at the end of his 15th lap, then he will try and do 6 laps on the same set of tyres. And I don't know if they'll make 5, as it's a slow going Kazuki Sims. It's a puncture for the number 11 off the track for the 2-lap cars behind him. It's a rear puncture for Kazuki Sims Takahana. Tyres that surely could have done another lap. It's been a perfect day almost for the Sims driver. But now the rear's let go. He's only a couple 100 meters away from pit lane. That's Kimi and Isla, that blue car behind. Sims is coming down into the pits. He's going to relinquish the lead. By the way, those tyres should not have gone at that point. A delamination for the 11 gives the race lead to the 96 on the final lap. Chris Cornwell making his way through the lap traffic as he flies off the racing line. Matthew Hart's going to get a podium for his team, but it's not going to allow him to hold on to the championship lead. Kazuki Sims still going to get a pretty good points day for his Sims Triple 8 team as Rai Franke gets a time penalty for causing a collision. Sims just unlucky with the tyres. It's still looking to be a top 5 as Matthew Hart is making his way through the traffic, trying to catch up to Chris Cornwell, who gets scarily close to that inside wall. But for the 96, as he makes his way through the hairpin, Matthew Hart punches in the fastest second sector. Coming to the attack mode activation point, he can't use it. For Chris Cornwell, joined Hyperdrive Racing with the prospect of becoming a ChampCar World Series champion. He keeps it out of the wall and takes victory in Toronto. Chris Cornwell does it as Matthew Hart comes across the line in second. Hudson running into the back there. The very slow-moving Antonio Ponte. Ica World bringing home a 1-4 for Hyperdrive Racing, their best result of the season. And for Kazuki Sims, what could have been for that team? It's a full car puncture for Akari Lopez coming to the line. Vita Alves getting past. Full car puncture for Shen as well. So Alves coming home with an 8th place. And Sir Carrera's tyres are gone as well. 2 laps down for Kimi Nyla. You know, we knew for a fact he was behind the pack, but 2 laps. My oh my, we're going to leave you with Davi Sir Carrera as he comes to complete his final lap of the race. Where is it? What lap is he on? Can we see it? As Austin punches in the fastest lap of the race. It's down to 15th, and that's all we can see. Because I don't know if the Brazilian is the lap down or not as he comes through that final chicane. No, this is his last lap. He's the last man on the lead lap. For the first time in the British drivers' ChampCar World Series career with Hyperdrive, Chris Cornwell is a race winner, and it's going to be a race win here in Toronto that is going to stay with him for quite some time. Matthew Hart coming home in second with Dominic Hudson in third. It could have been a Kazuki Sims race win, but unfortunately a puncture on the penultimate lap took it all away for the Japanese driver. As for the rest of your finishes, Ica World 4th from the very same Kazuki Sims, Takahana, Devin Butler, 6th from Christian Bentley and Vita Alves. Shockingly good pace shown by the Dragon Racing man as he finished in 8th. Akari Lopez, 9th from Ray Shen and Dominic Vansalau, then front Animate, Matthias Antonio, Francis Austin, Davi Sir Carrera, Lam Fong, Antonio Ponte, Rai Franke, Mario Koske, and Kimi Nyla. Then on finishes were Zenzo, Ahmed Cilia, Daniel Ortega, and Guillermo Perez. Chris Cornwell now takes the championship lead, 2 points up on Matthew Hart. He's 20 points up on the target Chip Ganassis, that's Perez and Hudson. Then it's Bentley, Matthias Antonio, Kazuki Sims, and Ahmed Cilia. Followed by Kimi Nyla, then best of the rest, Akari Lopez in 10th, followed by Ica World and Rai Franke. Daniel Ortega is 13th from Lam Fong and Mario Koske. Then it's Brandon Animates, the Filipino, followed by Francis Austin and Zenzo, who are all tied on points, that's 20. Then it's Ray Shen, Davi Sir Carrera, Devin Butler, Vita Alves, Antonio Ponte, and Dominic Vansalau. In the constructors' standings heading into the 10th round of the championship, Forsyth Racing leave their home event, leading the points, with Target Chip Ganassi 3 down, Nord Hyperdrive now stating a claim to both championships in 3rd. Then it's Sims Triple 8 TGR, Conquest Racing, best of the rest, from KB Racing Technologies and Trackhouse. Then it's Power Motorsport and Dreddy Autosport, Dale Coin Racing, Dragon Racing, and Team Penske. 2 and only 2 podiums all season, but he's only had 1 non-score in round 5. Consistency really is key in this ChampCar World Series season, and Chris Cornwell is now the face of it. Can he hold on to this championship lead all the way into round 15 in Indy? You're going to have to stay here on Sparkplug Motorsport to find out next. It's the Formula E World Series, so we will see you guys next time then when the Electric Racing League returns.